Hello everybody, this is thejonnymar, and welcome back to my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. So we are starting to make our way through the Tail Cave, and I just got a key. And we have to kill off some enemies in this room in order to open the door, and we also get a new compass. And I say it's new because in this game the compass actually has a new feature, and that is it will give you a special tone if you enter a room that has a key available to you. And there's all the rooms with treasure chests as well. So that's also a new feature of the compass. It used to just tell you where the boss was, which was not the most useful. Good old-fashioned step switch to get this key. Now this is a pretty short dungeon, so I should be able to do it in around 5 to 7 minutes, pending enemies cooperating. And these skeletons don't like to cooperate. Come here, you little jerks. There we go. And at last, we finally got the map after this long, perilous journey through this dungeon. Now that's a one-way door up there that takes us to another room in the dungeon, but I want to go this way instead. And as I mentioned in the last episode, I'm going to be avoiding guardian acorns. I don't really like them and the music that comes with them. Oh, I hate these guys. But he got stuck in the corner, so I was able to kill him pretty easily. And 20 rupees. Joy! Now you can actually push this block to block this little spike guy. It's been a while since I've actually played this game, so it might take me a little bit to remember how to get through some of these dungeons, especially the later ones. I have a semi-memory of the first 3 or 4, but after that things, geez, get kind of fuzzy. So unlike Link to the Past where you used a hammer to flip these guys, you actually use a shield in this game to take them out. And that opens up some steps, which leads to Goombas! Where's a mustached plumber when you need him? Just another example of how this game is using elements from Mario games, and they're crossing over platform. How do we get that heart? Well, perhaps the item of this dungeon will allow us to. And that item is the Roc's Feather. So we, for the first time, have the ability to use an item to jump. So of course, in other games in the series like Zelda 2, you could also jump, but you didn't have an item that you had to use to do that. That was more of a magic ability. And interestingly enough, these are genuine Goombas, so if we jump on them, a la Mario, we crush them and they do give up a heart. Now that slab in there with the hole out of it is a hint. And basically it's worthless. It just tells us that we can overturn the spike guys with our shield. And obviously I know that already. Now we don't have bombs yet, but we can come back later and blow open that cracked wall once we do. But in the meantime, let's get this key here, because this will let us access the former big key of past Zelda games, but now it's called a nightmare key. And we get that by coming up here to the north, using our little key, and opening up this chest. Bam! So now we can open the door to the boss, or nightmare, of this dungeon. And we're actually almost done with the dungeon already. Just a couple more rooms to go. However, this game does add an interesting aspect to each dungeon in that you have to fight a mini-boss before you can actually take on the boss. So I'll be showing that off in a little bit. But first, get out of my way. Ugh. So in here, you have to stop these card guys all in the same suit, and in my opinion, it's not worth it. All it does is get you the little piece that completes those slabs, and it gives you a worthless tip. But here's the mini-boss. So you gotta jump over his little roller that he pushes at you, and you have to slash him as he runs by. And he actually takes more hits than the boss, which is really strange. They make the mini-bosses so powerful in this game compared to the actual dungeon bosses. But whatever. I I guess they want to make it a true test of endurance. Which this might be if I keep getting hit. These guys do a lot of damage. Oh, there he goes. When you beat a mini-boss, you get a fairy of sorts, and you get this little warp point. So this goes to the entrance, so if you do happen to die, you don't have to start over and redo all the levels. You can just warp to basically a midpoint. For this first dungeon, it warps you to just before the boss. And here we go. Basically, it's Moldorm, my least favorite boss in any Zelda game. Come here. Oh. Now, normally, if you use 2 charge shots on his tail, it'll kill him. But because it just slashed at it, I'm gonna have to hit him in his super souped up mode. Yes! Wow. He almost always makes me drop a couple times. That is awesome. Easily my least favorite boss. And we get a instrument? The Full Moon Cello. Wow, that was a pretty powerful little ditty it did. Or diddly. And you always get a little hint at the end of each dungeon about where to go next. So a path opens in the woods. Hello, Mr. Owl. You're gonna pontificate, aren't you? Okay, so we have to collect 8 instruments, 7 more, and then allow us to wake the windfish. You were instructed to give me directions by who? Gopanga Swamp. Okay. Well, that is north of the mysterious forest, and we're gonna head that way. And we can actually use our new Rock's Feather to make some shortcuts. So it'll cut some of our... What the heck's going on, guys? The moblins came, huh? Okay, I get it. It's for real. I believe you. They did something at BowWow's house. Okay. Ugh, you guys are useless. Okay, yep. Allow Sherlock Link to go see what happened. Yeah, BowWow's gone. Alright, well, let's talk to Madame Meow Meow, I think her name is. Dog napped, huh? Alright, well, here's our errand for in-between dungeons. I mentioned that this game extends kind of the gameplay by making you do errands in between each of the dungeons since there's only 8 of them. And this is what we have to do. We have to find BowWow. So we have to head through the mysterious forest, and not too far from here is where the moblins are keeping BowWow. So we'll be there in a little bit. But in the meantime, we're going to be retraversing some old... Okay, die. Some old ground. I would really like a piece of power, simply because it speeds me up a little bit. And hey, now we can use the feather to get this heart piece. The game does a good job of that, kind of setting up what item you're going to get next by sending you to areas that are kind of blocked with obstacles that you can use the next key item for. I'm not sure what that statue meant in terms of the windfish is not a fish. Okay, moblins. Die. Not too bad. Okay, 4 of these guys. Should be easy enough. So what next? 2 of the shield guys, maybe? Jeez, no. I don't think Link is an assassin. He's not Shadow. But he will equip his shield so he can block your stupid little arrows. And as you see, you have to wait for him to run into the wall before you can actually damage him. So let him charge at you like a Nimrod and then blast away with your sword. Takes roughly 8 or so hits, provided he runs into the wall like a good boy. He's behaving so far. Ugh. I said you were behaving, and you gotta go prove me wrong. There we go. And essentially he's a mini-boss, so we should get our little worm fairy. And here's BowWow. We get our Chomp Chomp, or Chain Chomp. So we can take this back to Madame Meow Meow if we want, but she actually will just say thank you for saving him and then take him for a walk. So our job as a hero is never done. Ugh. Now what? Yes, you told me that about 2 minutes ago. I know I have to go to the swamp. And basically you walk the BowWow by taking him to the swamp, because there are things in the swamp that only he can get rid of, and that are flowers. Particular flowers that supposedly are delicacies to the BowWow. Now he's not behaving too well. Usually he, there he goes, eats enemies for you, making things a little bit easier. And sometimes he doesn't cooperate, and he'll just spend time behind you jumping around like a moron and not killing enemies. So we need to head north from here, past where we got the tail key. And now that we have the feather, we can actually access a cave up here to the north as well. Now this house isn't important. It does come into the trading sequence a little bit later. Likes. Ugh, that forced me to take that. So likes, for those of you that are Zelda vets, you know they steal your shield if you get caught by them. Let's use our feather here. 20 rupees. Joy. And looks like we'll need something to pick up that skull a little bit later. So I'll be back for you, treasure chest. Don't you worry. And I think there's a statue up here. And the windfish stirs by music. Well, that's not surprising considering we're trying to collect instruments, right? Alright, piece of power. Like that. So here's your sign that gives you the hint. Keep out except BowWow. So he can eat these fish and also these flowers, otherwise there's no way to get past them. And the worst are these big flowers, because they block key areas, ugh, and then they hit you with fire as well. Now there's a chest down here, so thanks BowWow. 50 rupees. Very nice. And that should be about it. Now we just need to use BowWow to get into the second dungeon, the Bottle Grotto. So just eat one of these flowers. Come on, buddy. And then in my next episode, we will take on Dungeon 2. So as always, viewers, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.